This feels like home actually.
Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon. You are watching the Policy Times Unleashing India Global Web Summit series. My name is Akram Haq, and with me, I have two very talented and beautiful women leader of the country. And this is a very special show chaired by Dr. P. Shekhar. I will introduce about Dr. I'll tell a brief about Dr. P. Shekhar later on. I want to come to the topic that we've chosen, though today is a very busy day as the election results are out in Bihar. And but still we chose a topic which is evergreen and which has immense relevance for the society, for the country, than any other topic perhaps we should talk. And this should be one of the most important policy dynamic in the current situation. Women, the role of women in the society in general and in management for strategic planning, to be more specific today. You know, we can't imagine our life without women. Even no social or socio-economic structure is possible in India or any part of the world without having active role and participation of women. Imagine whichever countries where women participation in the economic activity is higher, they are far better economic performer than any other countries in the world. So if you see Vietnam, which is a rising country doing wonderful, the economic contribution of women in the economic activity is much higher. Even within India, if you see states like Mizoram, where women participation, Meghalaya, I think, some of the northeastern states where women participation is more, the economy is doing better, and the also the society is much more peaceful and calm. The other important thing that I want to tell about women, and then we will go into the topic. We have experts today to talk on this topic today. I have seen that women are more structured, they are more educated in the CBSE or ICSE or state board results that we often see. Women score always better than men. Even this year, when NEET 2020 results were out, the entire world was, in fact, the entire country was enjoying or rejoicing the success of Aftab, Sheikh Aftab, I think Shoaib Aftab. But there were one lady named Akanksha Singh. She was also the topper. They scored same, but we some might have ignored it. But Akanksha did as much as what Shoaib Aftab did. The contribution of women. I mean, there are a couple of statistics that I don't want to go because we'll go to the topic. In short, what I mean to say that society, economy, nothing is possible without active and complete involvement of women. In fact, the more leadership and more opportunity we give to women, the better it is for the society, for the economy, and all. With this, in fact, as Masuma ma'am just said that, the countries where women leaders are there, they have done far, far, far better than the strong men leaders, political leaders in power. And that's one of the simple examples that you can see. Even today, the Bihar results are out. And I was really surprised to see that there even 5% women voters have voted more than men in Bihar. But in the entire electoral panel, I did not see any active women politician on the front, even contesting for the post of chief minister and contesting for the post of higher political leadership. But let me also show my confidence in that. Imagine the day a chief minister, women chief minister takes charge of Bihar, I think the Bihar's fate will completely change. And I wish someday Bihari, educated, uneducated women and men uh, elect a women chief minister in this state. So with this, I do not want to introduce our experts, I would request, in fact, Dr. Shekhar to introduce. Dr. Shekhar is a renowned modern, thinker. His thinking is very different from others, and whatever he thinks, the kind of positivity that he brings, and the kind of energy that has huge role to transform this beautiful country. As I also often tell, I wish to see Dr. Shekhar also as one of the chief advisors to our PMO, the Prime Minister, or maybe someday a minister in some profiles in some of the ministry, to actually contribute to this nation, because we have very less people in this country who talk about development. So with this, I request Dr. Shekhar to take over the session.
Thanks, Akram. Well, even though I may not agree to be anywhere in the higher echelons, I'm happy with what I'm doing. Because we can do a lot by not being in any power, not being in any position, which I feel I'm doing justice. Now, today's connection is on women. We have had 1 minute. Yeah. Just yeah. Yeah. Today we have a very interesting topic: enhanced role of women in management for strategic planning of for national reincarnation. We had 3 sessions, women-based session out of this is the 47th session, and women achievers, women in women scientists, and so on and so forth. And today's thing is women in management for strategic planning. Now, I will run through a small 2-minute presentation before introducing today's very eminent speakers. Now, India is not new to women in power, right from old days. And as we all know, India is a country in which 3 main goddesses are all women. Okay, so there is no yeah. So India at a glance. Now, when we see India as a country, we are able to see this. Something is coming on the screen.
Shekhar, we can see it, Dr.
You
Shekhar.
can see?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Something else coming on. No, doesn't matter. So India at a glance, India is again like 206 countries put together with its own complexity, but its own great achievements, which again is not part of today's show. Sorry, there's something going wrong. Yeah. Okay. Now we are doing all the show because of this post-COVID. COVID is something where a minuscule thing has hurt the whole economy. None even in the scientific line can ever believe that something which has affected 0.5% of India's population, out of this 0.5%, 1% is died, 1% has died, and that has brought the whole economy down, whole psyche down, and everything about development, personal, official, anything is down. So, but when something like this happened, we have to take our life forward, and women have got a great role to play. What is it? Because men were generally going to office and thinking that they are the people who are governing. With the work and home concept, men is in women's domain, and they still have to do, and they still have to do whatever they are doing. And women have got a greater role in this. So let me just run through few slides to see the way the woman is doing and the way things can be enhanced. And of course, our experts would have a lot more to tell. In global workforce, women have got a role to play, but in terms of working, they are far lower in numbers. And even in the top 500 companies of the world, in terms of size, structure, women are playing a good role. As you all know, some of the Indian women have achieved great strides in the world's largest companies. The proportion in terms of leadership is also growing by the day in various countries. Yes, this is very interesting. Yes, women are there. Their contribution in terms of even economy is something like $18 trillion, which is something which is extremely good to know. And in terms of male female population, there is a strange feeling that male female population is not fair. It is not. In some places even female population is more. Male population is generally slightly higher, very slightly higher. So that doesn't that should not come in the way of women trying to make their presence felt, make their this felt. Even in education, as you can see, the say total number of female PhD students in India is 74,000, which is a very good number. And same way, even if you see the other, there are 2.8 lakh women scientists in India. So it is for India, at least woman is playing a good role. Woman has been allowed to play a good role. Woman has fought themselves to play a good role, even if some places they are trying to this thing. But it could be little better than what it is today. And we have to achieve and get India into a good position. Now, let me have the pleasure of introducing today's two very eminent speakers. We have Akshata Naik and Dr. Masuma Rizvi. Akshata is one of the partners of a very premium consultancy company called Mazars India. This is a very large company operating in 91 countries with almost 45,000 people. But she is for the Mazars India partner. And she is an educationist. She has done a lot of good work and she's doing very great work for education enhancement in India. She's trying to make her own contribution in even India's education policies, in the way the whole thing will be propagated, and the way post-COVID, how it can still penetrate to the rock bottom, to the last person in the world, last person in India. And she has done a premium work in so many other sectors, but education will be and has been her forte for getting, because every sector can go via education. So through education, she's planning to do, in many other sectors also her contribution, and that is Madar. I'll introduce Masuma also because she's has been one of our favorite speakers, and she has been welcomed by public demand to come again. We are having the pleasure that the third time she's coming, and she is very high level of writer, motivational speaker, and when she talks, Saraswati comes out of her mouth, and people would like to know so many things about the way she has done so much good work. Right from Rashtrapati Bhavan to something in Varanasi, and I do not know which all organization she has not done. She does some architectural work. She does some visionary art, visionary culture, and all those things which are all bringing a lot of catalytic growth. She has done immense work. So I will start with Akshata. I would request her to talk a little about herself also, and then go over to this thing. Last 10 minutes, both will concentrate on the more of the main topic of national incarnation. Till that time, it should be more of their personal work, their contribution, and so on and so forth. And Akshata can start the.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shekhar. Thanks, Akram, for. So this is my first time. By the way, I know Masuma, you had your third attempt. This is my first time at Policy Times, and I'm thankful that you invited me. So about a brief about myself, my name is Akshita, which Shekhar sir did introduce. What I do with Mazars, I'm a partner with Mazars in the consulting practice, which is more to do with transformation, automation, and outsourcing. And I have about 17 plus years of experience in both domestic and global market to build a hire to retire solution. And it would not mean hire to retire. I would possibly say it's a fantastic topic today to speak about women, because it's more from human to capital transformation. And as Dr. Shekhar mentioned, education is definitely a part of it, because larger of it attributes to the woman aspect as such, the topic of discussion for today. I've also headed a large P&L, also while in many of the organizations, while partners also in Mazars, I do the same. It is more about a multi-dollar plus P&L that I handle. I have handled and handle as well. What I do in Mazars is more from the transformation, automation, and outsourcing vertical is the business and digital transformation. which includes anything to do with technology in terms of AI, ML, the RP, the bots, intellectual automation, and I also had the HR practice of Mazars, which include the workforce solutions, the L&D, something like an organizational development, HR strategy, HR advisory, the automation piece that comes in, performance management, and comp and Ben as well. What I've done in my past experiences possibly is I've built center of excellences. I was with Manpower Group INC for about 8 years of my career, where it was more of building the entire center of excellence, which included the technology arm of it. Today, I possibly lead the transformation automation outsourcing vertical. I also lead the Marcom for Bazaars, including go to market, which includes all the 13 service lines, which is from cybersec to business analytics to digital transformation to boutique service lines like forensic. I'm sure you would have. It's an interesting piece altogether. The forensic advisory services that Mazars does. And then we have the regulatory practices, business restructuring practices, and a large piece of government advisory practice that we have. For transformation Tau, that's what we call typically. What we've done today is we work closely with lots of RP product companies along with lots of AIML, the chatbot companies. Consulting typically would mean we help you understand your own organization, help you in building those business processes that can give you ROI, plus helping the startups to build their entire base as such. And happy to say we have in fact been awarded the EMEA Partner of the Year to two large RPA organizations globally within 1 year of the practice that is being set up, and it's an interesting arena altogether. In fact, as jokes say, COVID is the largest thing that has happened to us that has actually fastened the digital transformation. And as a matter of fact, consulting organizations did have their piece of challenges that we had in terms of you changing the entire product line that you had, the service line that you had, and simply because clients' expectation and clients' requirements absolutely changed. The first Feb that we went on hold as a country, the expectation of customers changed. And consulting is more from understanding your client, understanding their why, and delivering for their products. So then we had, as much as we had to in fact come back and we came up with innovative solutions that were more relatable at that point of time, in terms of how do we enable organizations to still do their business as usual when there was a large hit that happened in terms of your employees working from home, in terms of the change of business, uh, the predictability was zero. So none of us, including our customers, our clients, or be it anybody, did not have any understanding of what was happening next. But I think happy to say the team actually came back with solutions that were required, absolutely required. We came up with about innovative solutions, and then we hit the market back, and that's how we doing pretty well. I'm sure rest of them have their own learnings. There were cases where we had to help customers while we had moved work from home way. There were some of the clients that we had which did not have a say. They had to ensure the production was on. Something like your retail, something like the basic needs necessities, those were the places where production had to still continue, and we had our own challenges in terms of how do you set up that production line, how do you decrease the employees, what is the volume mix that you have to get within the organization. There was a change shift in terms of what a customer wanted and what the customer no longer wanted. Customer basically would mean their end consumers, be it the retail, be it the e-commerce. There was different ways that we had to strategize in getting things on board, and that is how we possibly worked across. Since Shekhar sir also mentioned that there is a specific interest in education sector that we do. In fact, we've come up with entire boutique of service in the education sector, which is more to do with technology, deep tech technology. And while most of the universities did go on hold, students are studying from home. We got so we, instead of the pull that happens, pull would possibly mean uh, a student listens to what a faculty says. We went the other side of it. We went to the corporates to understand what is their requirement. We developed a custom course curriculum for them, and then we also developed a product which was more from learning to hiring perspective. And it was more from AI ML, because we are a consulting organization and technology. It was more from AI ML enabled technologies that we got. We signed up with somebody called as Skills, a UK based edtech company. Came up with solutions which for example, I'll give you a simplest example. It was more from we have the culture of guru in India, which means you are used to attuned to having somebody beside you when you're learning, right? It's an entire university culture that is developed is based on guru, and we respect the fact. So we tried bringing in some aspects like how do you ensure that you're still sitting in a classroom. I mean, Zoom, MS Teams, Google, everything helps you, but does not give you a feel that you're actually sitting in a classroom. You have, and the touch and feel. The faculty, when he sees your body language, understands if you're actually sitting in the class, you are being attentive in the class. So we worked on those aspects using AIML, where there are about 180 attributes that the live classroom takes it into consideration and gives back a status to the faculty if the student is actually listening, his eyeball movement, the body language, and all that. So there are lots of things that we came up with. So I wanted to bring that focus on what we do in Mazas, what I've been doing in the a little of it, Dr. Shekhar. What I would now move on possibly is to the topic of discussion of today, which was more to do with women in the global environment. So as rightly pointed out, we have about 61% of contribution of women in the services sector, about 13.5 in other industries, and about 25% in agriculture. And I'm again bringing the statistics that Dr. Shekhar said. About 23% of women's seats are in the parliament. About 5.8% of the CEOs of Fortune 500 countries are women. And that brings us to the fact that there is a lot of change that has happened in terms of women empowerment, and there are changes that they have come into picture. However, what we possibly miss is one of the largest segment that we do not calculate is the housewife category. That's an important category we do not discuss or mention, because I'm not sure why it happens, but usually your culture, your tradition, your life, everything's family is handled by the woman at home, and it's nothing to demean about it. It is more important because they are definitely a part of the economic, socio-economic progress that happens. Because the hand that actually rocks the cradle does rule the world. Women should definitely be a part of India to lead to our glory. I mean, our women are so naturally bent towards multitasking. What Akram did mention, we have a large amount of multitasking capability. Plus, the emotional quotient, the empathy that a woman has is I do not want to do the thing between the patriarchal society or something like that, but it is a natural bend of women to have empathy, and as well as the emotional intelligence that comes up. So I mean, intellectual intelligence is IQ level, is intellectual quotient is absolutely important, but EQ is something that most organizations are dwelling on today while we speak, because technology possibly is the easiest thing that you can teach somebody. Skill is something that you can teach, but the EQ level, the power of taking right decisions, is something that comes in your DNA. And honestly speaking, women have that largest say. So what I was talking about is what does a housewife do? Housewives are the actual largest workforce in the world. Though they're underpaid, they receive undue scoff in the society. If she actually gets paid to what she does, I think it'll be the largest economy creator for us. In fact, when any of the consumers, the retailers or anybody, their consumers are actually women, because they decide what comes home, right? She has the power to purchase something like a chips for her children, to something like, what should I treat a guest for today, what is the thing that I should do. So all of our advertisements that you see possibly are usually tend to show those advertisements are oriented towards women and children, because they are the ones who are the important decision makers at home. In fact, India actually achieves a saving rate of about 33% of GDP, of which 70% comes from the household savings. and 20 comes from the private corporate saving sectors, and about 10 comes from the public sector. So the highest household savings, that is about 70%, is actually in the hand of women. So imagine if we give the right opportunities to women, what they can bring on the table, empower them, upskill them. In fact, we've invested, I think the last 15 years government has invested about 3 billion USD in just helping empowering poor rural women to through self help groups. Maybe we tweak that a little and get them into the main arena of business. And that's my thought about it, Dr. Shekhar. Anything that if you want me to add, I would be happy to help. But I think it is more from the perspective that we look at the second set of that economic builders who we do not consider the housewives. Possibly add in, while we definitely are making the difference. There are lots of CEOs and lots of technology work that women are doing. Interestingly, in terms of the scientific aspect also, when we have about 22 lakh 80,000 plus scientists globally and in our country, scientists, engineers, and technologists, it's only 14% of women who actually take the mainstream work. And it shows it's more related to because they eventually face difficulties in getting grants. They eventually are answerable to how do they do the work life balance, which is I don't think it's the right thing to do. Work life balance, I again I stated earlier, it comes naturally to women. It is multitasking capability that a woman has. I think she also has an advantage of uh, networking, natural build towards networking a lot, uh, and which helps build confidence. All I think is we just have to look at the right direction. How do we channelize this energy and possibly give them the right opportunities?
Thank you. We'll come again
Over to you, Dr.
under
Shekhar. Sure.
afterwards. Now let us move to Dr. Masuma. Now you are anyway not a not new to this, so I will not go into the normal formalities. There are certain pertinent things about women, like she rightly said, that it is not exactly woman versus men syndrome. It is a question of how we all together achieve. Every woman has got some men who is the closest. If anything happens, it is they. And same thing for men. Okay. But as women, there are a lot of facts and figures which one has to analyze. Some of the best facts and figure is women in India have got more gold than USA, Germany, IMF all put together. It is more than 30,000 tons of gold. Okay. Supposed to be the statistic given by experts. Okay. So even in terms of money power, I think they are not second to anybody. Only thing, because of the way they think, way they work, they never show off their capabilities, their power, and their. So I would like, Masma has done a lot of work in terms of the ground level. She has gone to remote villages, remote places, and done so much of work. So from her perspective, how would you think? Of course, start with little about yourself, because you have done some phenomenally good work. And as usual, toward the end should be generic, nothing personal. Then should be how nation will grow with women playing a deep role. Masma, Dr. Masma.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shekhar. Thank you, Akram. And thank you for your lovely talk. It was very enlightening. To begin with, as per the role of enhanced role of women and management for strategic thinking or strategy policies is something that I think we really need to look at today. Because I will talk about strategic analysis, strategies, because these terms are big. And strategic management is something you hear it and you say, what is strategic planning? So, these big terms, I would like to start by breaking down what is strategic planning, why a woman's role should be enhanced in this, and then move on to how I did it in my life so that people understand where I'm coming from. Like I've always felt that men and women use different strategy and it influences organizational performances. You know, so much of literature has been written that shows this different approach. But this difference in management has a huge impact on finally what comes out, the performance of the organization. As women, our life experiences are absolutely different. We are in the same path, we walk the same road, but we perceive differently. We take different feelings. Like the one thing that I totally agree with the previous speaker is the empathy factor that we have. So we are different as women. It is not a question of equal. I never understand when girls or children or women come up to me and say, we have to be equal. I said, we don't, or we have to be better than men. There is no competition here. यहाँ कोई competition नहीं चल रहा है. हमें कंधे से कंधा मिला के आगे बढ़ना है. We are like two wheels of a cycle. एक व्हील भी अगर बड़ी होती है उसका बैलेंस रहता है हैंडल का with a smaller wheel. So we are part and parcel of it together. That our Hindu mythology or our Indian mythology, when you go back, you see there was always a balance. It was like a tarazu. तराजू के दोनों पहले equal होते थे. So our experiences as a women, our life experiences are different. And that teaches us interpersonal skills and tools. The two things that are very important that we learn. कोई भी औरत हो, कहीं पर भी हो, गांव में हो, सिटी में हो, कहीं पर भी हो, अमीर हो, गरीब हो, she can be of any strata of society. But it comes with the same tools. We share and encourage decision making. We share information and power. Women in a house don't say this is my way or the highway. A man can say it and get away. A woman will not say it because she has to keep the family together. This a blueprint is of interactive management emerges with a personal touch. And this is what women managers bring to the table. I'll tell you a small incident. मुझे अभी एकदम से याद आया, my daughter, barely off the ground, little child, 8 साल की थी, she was 8 years old, saved her pocket money and got me a magnet. It had a cute, plump woman wearing an apron. And my first thought was, oh, I'm fat. And then I looked at what it said. It said, mothers are the buttons in our life that stitch our family and everything together. I have never forgotten that. And I think this holds true for the corporate world also, as this is the characteristic which sums up clearly and simply why women must have an enhanced role in strategic planning. Because I have worked with a lot of women. I have worked with women in the villages. I have worked with very influential women, chief ministers, foreign ministers, the top women. I have worked with tribal women. I have worked with women running NGOs. I have found these things which I will share with all of you. Women tend to be collaborative in forming their vision. They take into account the input of many and then decide the result as a group's vision. And they don't take credit. They don't say, maine kara, maine kara. They say, we did it together. They involve multiple players. They work, collaborate. Collaboration is what women get. Now, a female strategist claims, a very dear friend of mine in the US, top strategist. She claims her role is a catalyst, and I've never forgotten this. She constantly articulated this management philosophy that leaders don't drive change, but they allow potential to emerge. I believe that is the bias which now with so much going for us, फिर हम लोग ये discussion क्यों कर रहे हैं? It's because there is a bias against women which lingers all over the world. I was told, really? You'll be an advisor? Do you have a vision paper? Now, would a man have been asked the same question? And had he been asked the same question, would it have been the same condescending tone? It would have been expected that he would have a vision, he would have leadership qualities, and he would do it. I had to prove that I had it in me. So this is where I'm going to break down strategic planning for you. Very simply, strategic planning is a big word. अगर आप इसको पहले नहीं सुने, you kind of like, मुझे नहीं सुनना, ये मेरे लिए नहीं है, ये कोई management MBA term है. So I'm going to make it very simple. In all my talks, my thing is कि एक 5 साल का बच्चा, एक 50 साल का आदमी, पढ़ा लिखा या अनपढ़, सब समझ लें हम बात क्या कर रहे हैं. जैसे अकरम जी ने कहा, तभी इस पॉलिसी टाइम्स का फायदा होगा. It is very simple and I always use the word kiss because kiss सब समझते हैं, कोई भी language में हो. What I mean is keep it simple, silly. Very simple. So what is strategic planning? 4 पिलर हैं. विजन एंड मिशन. विजन सब जानते हैं, मिशन सेकंड, डिटेल्ड ऑब्जेक्टिव जो कुछ नहीं है बट आपके गोल्स हैं. तीसरा क्या है, एक्शन प्लान और वे फॉरवर्ड. और पांचवा है आपकी टाइमलाइन या स्कोर कार्ड. I don't see myself as a particular visionary in the creative sense. I see myself, like Dr. Shekhar said, with so much of experience, pulling, taking, putting abstract pieces of information and observation from a tribal woman to an influential politician to my own child and making it a possible strategy for future opportunities. And this has helped me succeed. My vision, अब personally मेरा जो vision था और mission था was that culture of our country reaches every corner of the earth. That was my vision, and my mission was that every artist and artisan I can help must get direct business without middlemen. They must have dignity of life. They must get the due they deserve. आप जानते हैं that the craft sector is second only to the agriculture sector in India. What happens? The biggest of business houses abroad, they come to India, they get their representatives here, they get beautiful embroideries done. Varanasi mein ho raha hai, Kashmir mein ho raha hai, it is happening in the northeast. Our artisans are given 1,000, they are given 50 rupees, 100 rupees. And that scarf sells for $300. We made a case study and sent this to the government that please do not let exploitation. So this was my vision and this is my vision. Now, second was my objective to transform Indian government buildings into cultural showpieces. When to enter a building, a government building, and you say, oh God, because you would be like, I don't want to look around. In 2001, I started this movement with a lot of fighting with everybody, but didn't give up. And today, all our government buildings have to have 2% of art and culture on them to get completion certificates. Then the third was the action plan. So my objective is met. It's still evolving. The third was the action plan, which was drawn out again in 2001. That every project that I do, 40% women artisans must be involved. और उन औरतों को मैं directly पैसा दूंगी. Because what used to happen, the women would work, the husbands would come collect the money, get drunk, or squander it away. And the women were left with nothing. And with nothing, they had to look after the children and feed the children. So it was such a terrible situation that we opened bank accounts. This was before Modi ji became PM because bank accounts hadn't been opened then. We opened bank accounts. We would put the money into give them 30% of the payment, put in the rest of the money in the bank account, and tell the bank, give coupons that every month you will get only this much. So you can't blow it away. And the woman immediately got this economic power and she got equality. So this was my third point of a strategic plan. The fourth was the scorecard. Unless you decide or unless you keep checking what you're doing and re-evaluating yourself, you'll never grow because you'll sit on your past laurels and say, Kar liya, bahut kar liya, I am the greatest. Because we are nothing. We are just a little drop in this vast ocean of humanity. And we never help anyone. When somebody says, oh, you helped, I said, I never helped. I assisted them. It's like the Chinese proverb, give a man a fish, he'll eat that day. Teach him how to fish. He'll be fed for the rest of his life. So timelines are important. A scorecard is important. And every 5 years, we give ourselves a 5-year plan and we see, okay, ticked. We might not have done it 100%, but the process has started. I always say success has many fathers. कुछ अगर चल जाता है ना, 1000 लोग आ जाएंगे उसको करने के लिए, फिर वो अपने आप चलेगा. अगर आप क्रेडिट के पीछे नहीं दौड़ोगे कि I want this out of what I'm doing, it will move. The movement will start. Many NGOs will come up and say, oh, this is a good idea, grab it. We don't care whether we are doing it or somebody else. What we care is it is done. So what I'm saying is that what I always feel is that how to create incentives or objectives. I keep thinking how to create this so that organizations will naturally find their own solutions. You know, when within you have your solution, people become innovative, they become stakeholders. I mean, then the objective becomes a big thing. It becomes, it doesn't become अरे ये तो बॉस बोल रही है या ये तो टॉप मैनेजमेंट बोल रहा है हम क्यों सुने. ये हो जाता है हमारा आइडिया है हमें चलाना है नहीं तो टॉप मैनेजमेंट बोलेगा देखो इनको कुछ नहीं पता. So it becomes you take them as stakeholders. So I feel to grow, for India to really become a world player, to reach our objectives, the biggest development hurdles that I learned was that when you're trying to explain your vision to stakeholders, it's very difficult. So we have to be more aggressive and we have to learn how to put out our ideas out there. And that is why you need in policy making for strategic thinking more women, because that time there were no women. In 2001, when I was trying to explain to the culture minister, first to the secretary and the minister, and they were looking at me and saying, Dibaron pe painting lagegi, madam, are you sure? Because there was no woman there. Had they had a committee or women, the women would have said, yeah, maybe it looked beautiful, let's try it. So, whenever we think of women, it is very natural that the strategy that, you know, I've always seen with, I mean, it's not a man woman thing. I'm just trying to show why we need more women here. I'm just trying to showcase my thoughts that for men, it's very easy to present this huge, inspiring story. India will be great. India will be shining. India will be, it will be. But how will it be? What is the route towards that? So, we must have a brilliant strategic analysis for crafting a logical implementation plan. We must have the ability to frame future practices based on the inadequacies of the current one. आज क्या lacking है? आज women participation lacking hai. That is one of the inadequacies. So we need women to generate new ideas for new strategies. Then we will be able to communicate possibilities in inspiring ways to others. We must not ask, where are we going? हम क्या करने वाले हैं? मुझे क्या मिलने वाला है? But ensure that all around the direction is taken. You know, as you search for new paths, you conduct a vigorous exchange with people, with women. Like what she said, the previous speaker is so true. We have a natural EQ, we have a natural empathy. We are always asking, even at home, you will see a mother or a wife or a partner, the lady will ask, what will you eat today? It's not that she doesn't know what will be cooked or what is there, but she's just checking. So we are taking views from all around, making it a cohesive view so that the vision rarely emerges from a solitary analysis. I say, no, this has to be done. It's one mind. In mythology, why was Ravana shown with 10 minds, 10 heads? Literally ऐसा नहीं था कि उसके 10 सर थे. Literally ये था उसके 10 सर जितनी intelligence उसमें थी. So that meant, our mythology teaches us that meant that 10 brains are better than one. And that is where a woman comes in. In India, our art and culture has taught us every aspect of our life. To Vedas, to mythology, to folklore, a tangible and intangible heritage. I will talk about a leader, I'm very closely a philosopher, thinker. He was a leader of BJP. Let us keep that aside because that becomes political. I'm not talking about his political affiliation. I'm talking about his thought process. He talks about integral humanism. What is integral humanism? Man, from the man, his family, from the family society, from the society community, from community state, from state country or nation, from nation world. So it starts with the person. And who is the center person here? A woman. So this approach is what helps, is the difference between socialism and capitalism. So then how can a policy for national growth not have women at the center? Why do we not have a bottoms up approach? If the mother holds the family, community, society, state, and nation together, why is she missing? See, in India, community is such an integral part of our lives. Every tangible and intangible value passes down from the mother. आपने देखा है ना, हम सब ने देखा है, यहाँ रिलीजन की बात नहीं है, कल्चर की बात है कि ओल्डेस्ट फैमिली मेंबर जो घर पे रहता है, शी टेल्स यू ऐसे करो, ऐसे नहीं करो, ये करो या वो नहीं करो. So our intangible heritage, our values, our culture is coming down from the oldest female member. So that means छोटी सी चीज है, ओ बच्चे को नजर लग गई, नजर उतार दो, तोरण लगा दो, रंगोली कर दो. The man won't say it, not because he's incompetent or he can't, but it is naturally the woman. So my children are abroad. All their friends are there, like all of you would know. They still stick to their culture. They eat like Indians, they drink like Indians, they eat everything out, but they live like little things from India. So you can take an Indian out of India, but you can't take India out of an Indian, whatever his nationality. I always say that our culture is so beautiful that people imbibe it. I was zapped 5 years back to see turmeric lassi, turmeric milkshake. And I'm like, yeah, really. It all comes from us. So, what I'm trying to say here is that how can you have strategic planning for India without taking into consideration our art and culture? It's not enough to fund NGOs because I have been there. I've seen CSR activities. No comments, but I write big, big papers and send to the companies. I'm not a whistleblower. I write to the company who's doing the CR and say, you're spending money. Let's do it properly. कॉमनवेल्थ में आपने इतने बड़े बड़े स्टेडियम बना दिए, खाली पड़े, जब हमारे प्लेयर्स को ट्रेनिंग की जगह नहीं थी. Solutions have to be made tailored to our needs. Women need a seat at the table, not just funding. We need to be there because I totally agree with our speaker before me who said that the women's traditional role is of a homemaker. However educated she may be, whatever her position in life, I celebrate being a homemaker. Many times, girls, career women get angry with me and they say, oh, you're stereotyping women. No, I'm not. I think in all the roles that I play, the one I invest in the more and I love the best is of being a homemaker. Because it is the greatest role. It has to be celebrated. We are the center of our families. And that is what a woman does. She adds that little personal touch to organizations. She makes co workers, colleagues into a homogeneous family. And that is why your topic is so important today. And I agreed with you, Dr. Shekhar, when you said about the first Indian PM that we had in 1966. 4 days back, I was laughing and talking to my children, and I said, it's wonderful. Kamala Harris is the first vice president of America. But hey, we got our first we got our first woman prime minister in 1966. And I said, hey, the first Indian woman who got elected to the president of a General Assembly of the United Nations was an Indian in 1953. So that is our country. Why is it going down the drain now? So we need operationalizing our policies through government, non-government NGOs, spearheaded by women, to test new ideas against all the set ones. And let's not have generic vision statements that companies put up on their walls. Let's have a specific plan which is unique to India, to our policies, to Indianness. Women in strategic planning will make India truly Indian. You cannot say यूरोप में ये मॉडल चला है, इंडिया में रेप्लिकेट करो चलेगा, नहीं चलेगा. It has to be, so we must leverage our culture towards progress. You know, to make India great, we need an India model based on our intrinsic culture and values. And then you see how strategic planning uh, I always tell people, because people make everything political. So one of my friends say, "Oh, you like Modi, so you say." I said, "No. Why did International Yoga Day happen? Forget the politics. It happened on a world stage to make our culture world. The whole world now knows that yoga came from India, and it celebrates our culture. So what we did was we went onto a world stage with our culture. When we celebrate our life, we celebrate our culture, we should be aware of us as a nation, and as our values should show in strategic planning. And that is why what you are doing today is really great, because if you think only, oh, strategic planning, you say MBA wali baat hai, chhod do. Actually, every day we are strategically managing our homes, the people around us. In my life with children, I'm managing my, children's spouses, managing my office, managing my husband, managing my life. Women are great managers. We should use them in strategic planning, because then India will become great on Indian values. And I'll end with one thing, which is my favorite comment when we talk about planning or strategy. No offense meant to anybody, but Margaret Thatcher, I like her for many things. Of course, some of the things she did weren't correct, but she said, once said, if you want anything, ask a man. If you want anything done, ask a woman. Thank you.
Yes, yes, absolutely right. From all aspects. So now, coming to our concluding portion, of course, we have talked much of COVID, post-COVID. A few more comments on how post-COVID, of course, I mean post-March. I'm not talking of vaccine coming and then coming. We should assume COVID is part of one more fever. You know, only some fevers have solution, some fevers don't have solution. Even today, many cancers don't have solution. Still, we are living with it. And there is some form of an eye disease which has no solution. It is, we are living with it. So, and if you go deeper, there are hundreds of such things we don't have solution, and we are living. So I am talking of COVID as COVID means post-COVID. Some might has come and attack. Circumstantially, people like me may say, what is this happening? Some people may say, no, 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 you don't understand anything. This is all something very, very bad. And, you know, you should have this, you should have that, you should have right hand should not have the left hand. Maybe while talking, I may transmit COVID to you. Or, you know, you can imagine whatever. And there are people to believe. Even if somebody says through this particular web summit or webinar also, we may transmit COVID. There will be 220 people who will be ready to write a nice article saying that, you know, so thing happened during that time. You know, somebody talked, he had COVID, and then through the electronic system, things have gone and attacked. But we have to progress. And in whatever we are saying with respect to women have got the greatest contribution. There should be no doubt about their contribution. But also there should be no doubt that there has been a lot of injustice done. Okay. That is because men have been like a raw lion. You know, it is looking at woman not as a partner, but as one of its prey. Okay. Those portion of human lives have to be changed. Now that there is a system, there are enough men to say that yes, this is wrong. Previously, there are not enough men. Previously, men of, you know, we are like this. Don't come into our sensitivities. Okay. Today, I think almost 70% of men don't like any woman to be harassed. Okay, but still that 30% of Indian woman means another, 150 countries put together. There's so much, that I was just calculating. The number of women in our country, if it's a separate country, it will be the fourth largest country in the world. If you say that, it comes to almost 620 million, that's not a small number. So with that type and that type of an intelligence, because we should also not that we want to belittle other women, but we Indians are Indians. Today, in a public show also I can say that there are a lot of Europeans who say that, no, you are all there to rule the world. We say we don't want to rule the world, but we want to coexist with the world. We do not want to rule anybody. We want to, literally this is the word they are using. Okay. But we do not want to use our intelligence to subjugate anybody. We do not want to use the same way. Inside India also, we should have the same system. men should never subjugate women. Of course, there are minor portion of women who are subjugating men, which also all of us have seen as we go in life. But that percentage is very, very small, very, very small. Okay. So then, with that, for concluding remarks from both the speakers, post-COVID, how and what way we are seeing things going forward, and what way we have to maybe make some small amends to see that things are going, especially Akshita, since she's so much deeply involved in education, in what way this thing can take, maybe a few sentences from each of you, and we'll conclude the show. Akshita.
Sure. Thanks, Dr. Shekhar. Masuma, fantastic the strategy aspect as well. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are slightly audible, I think, due to the poor internet connectivity. Okay, so you can continue without video.
Okay.
Hello.
I think, Masumaji, up.
E.
Just concluding remark. Concluding remark. I know
Yeah.
that you have said so many intellectual things.
I think the best thing that happened, I'm not saying that COVID was the best thing that happened, but I feel that the best thing that COVID did for us is make us realize what is important to us, what is actually important to human existence. And like you said, that is coexistence of everyone. And it also made us realize you don't need to go out to be in touch. You can use mediums, you can use science to be digitally connected, and you can use the time to actually think, innovate, mediate, and understand what are the things that you need. जो शुरू में हम कहते थे रोटी कपड़ा और मकान, it's literally like that. And when we talk of education, the one thing I would like to say here, which is very close to my heart, is that academics is not education. Academics is studying. Education is what Dr. Shekhar you have said about respect for all humanity, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. So respecting girls, teaching your sons to respect women. Things like these are what is education. So I would request Akram and I would request Akshata, when you all are talking about education, when I talk of education, I constantly keep telling people academics, gold medals are not education. There are degrees. I'm not belittling it. I'm just explaining a point of view. We need well rounded personalities, people with less biases, racial or gender, and that comes with education. That's why I always say Dr. Shekhar is extremely educated. I love his views on women. So, this is what I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you, Doctor.
thank you. Akshita, you would like to have the concluding remarks since we had.
So just to sure. Yes, I heard that Masuma. That is when we are talking about technology part of education perspective also. While most of us are focusing on technology, you're absolutely right. Technology is something that you can train people on. What are the finer aspect is more from the learning culture perspective. The finer aspect are the empathy that you can get into. The finer aspect are other things. I mean, you touch the culture part of it, you touch the art part of it, that actually gets your mind into a different zone altogether. It's not just technology, it actually opens up your mind to more strategic thoughts. And that is why we actually named that as a recreation. We watch TVs, movies, and all. I think the right approach is possibly in terms of recreation, move to doing something related to art, something related to culture, meditation, the yoga that you actually touched base. I think those are the differentiating factors that has to be a part of our education curriculum. Now, one aspect that I thought I should also bring to speed to the team is corporates are doing their bit in terms of diversity and inclusion. I just wanted to bring this aspect because we work. We put checks and balances in terms if you want to evaluate somebody in the leadership position. If you have to evaluate five candidates, it is a mandate that two of it has to be women or diverse population. It is a mandate. We put checks and balances like we will not take the interview unless you give us five people, out of which two are diversity and inclusion fraternity, be it LGBT, be it woman, anything. It has to be diverse specifically. But honestly, as you said, I don't see that in the government fraternity that happens. I think that is one aspect that we have to ensure. And Masuma absolutely agreed for strategic processes, planning that comes, women are absolutely right set of people, because they bring different perspective altogether, because they do it at home basically. So I think they bring the absolute different perspective that we should ensure. Your universe aspect of that one person is absolutely right again, Masuma. I think uh, right on point. That's something that we have to all do together. That's it from me, Shekhar sir. Just to give you a background, it's some personal aspect also that I wanted to tag. Is There is some, the maternity policy is not helpful actually. While we say there is a lot of aspects that come in, and to give you a matter of fact, I was doing a sales role when I was carrying my baby, and it is such a fearful factor. I don't boast about it as a fearful factor to ensure that you stay competitive. I eventually came back to work on the 10th day of delivering the kid, just to prove the fact that I am equally as capable as a man can do it. And I knew taking that 3 months off, I could definitely still ensure that I stay on target. But the pressure, definitely, I'm not sure if everybody expresses it. The pressure to prove yourself at every point of time for a woman is different. Nobody asked me to come back to the 10th day. It was that self responsibility to prove in the corporate that you are doing it absolutely right. There is no differentiation, is actually that pushed. And I think we should also look at those aspects. I know there are places from the government policies that there has to be crushes that are there in the 100-meter vicinity or 1 kilometer vicinity, but that's still much more to do in terms of how you can enable women fraternity also. That's it from me, Shekhar sir. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think with that, we will conclude this excellent presentation and show. Just with a small 2, 3 sentences, that women are there to play a great role, especially the Indian woman, because we govern many things. It is not the question of just giving birth. It is a question of bringing the catalytic, cohesive, and all sorts of all-encompassing action. Men left to themselves need women. Women left to themselves, I do not know how much they need men. Yes, they also need.
Wow.
But coexistence, like Masuma has been saying 3, 4 times, she said, coexistence is the one which is going to really give. In that, there is
Very
no
true.
question of one-upmanship between me and anybody. This thing. But we
True.
also should realize that there are few things, many places what has happened is that many men, by saying women are equal to men, women, they are making the woman go in front. I am safe. Those who are afraid of the tigers around me. So I am the safest person. Okay. And that should not happen. By putting women on equal footing, you should not let your responsibility go down. Anything which is physical, anything which is demanding, men have to take the load. Anything which is more intellectual, anything which is more intriguing, anything which is more this thing, women have to do. It is no use, of course, tomorrow I do not want, Air Force saying 50-50% should be women and men. It is not correct. There may be 10%, there may be 20%. So it should limit to that much. And this percentage itself should be evolved out rather than set. Even when it is set in percentage, it becomes a fraud. It becomes a thing by which people start manipulating numbers, manipulating things. And there are few places where women have to play, like in teaching. Yes, teaching should be 70 to 80% women. It should not be that men also come and become equal this thing, because that is something which is made for women. So same way, there are many aspects of things which are there, and there should be, like tomorrow, by saying that Indian housewife got 30,000 tons of gold, men should not say no, no, I also should have equal. So 50,000 tons, where is it? The poor lady would have kept somewhere hidden, and he takes it, and then again, like the favorite thing, they go to drink, which should not happen. So that way, let me conclude today's thing. Yes, we are there to grow, and post-COVID, we would have a much bigger role, much bigger contribution, and much greater and good way of life. Thank you. Akram?
Thank you so much, Dr. Shekhar. Thank you so much, Masuma ma'am. Wonderful. And Akshata, wonderful discussion. I will not repeat a lot of, Masuma ma'am said a lot of nice points actually. And I was really, I will watch it again in terms of, getting some points from some theories that you have mentioned. I just say 3, 4 things, just to conclude. And then number one, women are less corrupt. Women are more honest. Women are
Yes.
Whenever you have women in the leadership, there the governance and transparency is much higher. So I have experienced it in my own office and in many other places. Diversity is definitely there, but women into the leadership gives much more transparency to the organization. Final concluding points. uh, I just want to say there are some crimes against women which can only be stopped with some predictive, clear, reservation. I boast and vow it clearly, openly to our policymakers if they are listening to. We need 50% reservation for women into three areas, not any other areas. Number one, politics. Let there be 50% women parliamentarians in the country. There should be 50% reservation in police. The day there is 50% women in the police stations, half or I think 90% of the crimes against women will be down. The third is law in the judiciary. We need 50% reservation women into the judiciary. If we can do these three things, we don't have to worry about any kind of giving opportunity to women or anything. We can simply see that women will lead the country to a better place. With this, viewers, if you like our discussion, like our channel, do subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page. We will come with equal talented experts in our future programs. Thank you. Keep watching.